Okay, now this is a general advice section. Keith, you've brought me inside here with all the bird feed. Obviously, the winter months, these birds need looking after.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the big things, I think, for December, January, February. And even if people don't feed the rest of the year, these 3 months are key months, aren't they, to get birds through. And I think feeding garden birds has kept our bird population healthy and strong, for the last 20 years. I know they've got problems in the countryside with intensification of agriculture and things like that, but feeding garden birds is a real useful thing to do. And everybody knows about the peanuts and the seeds, Niger and sunflower, and perhaps fat balls, but there's a lot more on the market now. These mealworms are very popular with things like robins. A bit gruesome in the packet, but they're all dried, so they're perfectly all right. But and they love them, and blackbirds and things like that. And then these suet treats, either as pellets or you can get them as blocks, and they fit into little wire cages. A new idea. Where are those? It's a plastic feature, and you simply push rods of suet into it, and they'll attract other birds.
So they just go in packets.
Yeah, and they're high energy food, and this time of year that's what the birds need. So lots of different things to try, and come and have a look and try something new, really.
Okay, and sort of we've talked a lot now about the birds. Generally in the garden,
today here we've turned the water off and drained the system and turned the taps off, because obviously it's getting cold now, so you just need to guard against frozen pipes. So I think that's a job for December. Open the outside tap up and insulate it.
and we've been saying now, especially last month, maybe the month before, protecting the plants now, fleece protection, frost protection is...
Yes, again we fleece tonight in this cold night, so have the fleece handy, and on cold nights it's a very useful thing. It keeps just a couple of degrees higher than the outside temperature, and that can make all the difference to plants sometimes.
And if people haven't already done so, those plants that they've got in pots that they can move inside that need that bit of protection, either pop them in the greenhouse or even just bring them in the house.
Yeah, inside the greenhouse or just near the house is sometimes enough. That's a protected zone there, or perhaps under a veranda roof or in the garage, just for the odd night if it gets really cold. It's worth protecting. And you mentioned the greenhouse, we talked about insulation. If people heat greenhouses, you need to check your heaters, make sure you've got the fuel ready, because these cold nights come on us all of a sudden.
And another thing with these pots, if anyone's leaving them outside, we've said it before, but raise them, put some pot feet underneath them just to get them up off the ground, and it'll stop that water sort of cracking the bottom of the pot.
Particularly if they're terracotta, they're the susceptible ones, so let the air get underneath, keep them as dry as you can, and you've got a much better chance of getting terracotta through the winter then.
That's great, well thanks very much, Keith.
Okay.